So hello everybody, as promised, here's a little breakdown video of one of the everydays I made the other day. It's this one. Let me just open the After Effects file. It is this one right over here. Nothing too special. It's a pretty basic setup with the new settings in Mir, Trapcode Mir. It's a 3D plugin for After Effects if you don't know. Just a few layers over here, a few lights over there, a few adjustment layers. For those interested, this is what it looks like more or less raw, if you want to call it like that, without any adjustments. But I guess let's just get into it and create a new project. I would not like to save that. Create a new comp. Mine's gonna be in UHD resolution. Frame rate and duration doesn't really matter. It's gonna be a still frame. Create a new camera. Mine's gonna be a 35mm. Create a new solid. Call it mirror if you want to, or don't call it if you don't want to call it mirror. But mirror's gonna go on that anyways. Little tip: don't use the position C setting to get it more towards you, to make the mirror mesh bigger. The reason for that is if you want to position your camera different, like rotating a little bit like this, it's gonna be hard to do that. However, let's put this on 0. If you zoom in with your camera like that, press C to toggle between the modes, the camera modes. However, if I zoom in, I can precisely control everything about the mirror, or everything in general. Just a little tip. So yeah. Here we have mirror. A few things first. You want to go ahead and change the blending option to off, and you want to put the depth buff on. Now you actually see what is going on, because if you don't change these, everything's gonna look very weird. Also the fractal type, this is very important. If you don't change this fractal type, everything's gonna look very much different. Change it to multi. That's gonna make everything much smoother. You can also put this on smooth ridge or multi-smooth ridge. It's just different fractal types in general. That is how you can explain it, I guess. The verticals we're gonna change the last for rendering reasons, because if I crank these up to 2000 by 3000, it's just gonna take much longer to change everything. So just keep that for the last. Size is alright this way. The amplitude I would change a little bit. I would just put it on something like 27. That is the setting I used in the everyday. Just a few other. The frequency was 800. The offset in X is what I changed. I put that one to 135. It's just, you know, the general offset of mirror. If you want to do some motion graphics, I want to have something moving, something like that's coming out soon, by the way. You can use that. Also the scroll X I'm gonna put on 292, and the complexity I increased to 10. What the complexity does is, actually, let me create a light first to show you. That color is alright, I suppose. Finding a light can sometimes be a little bit iffy because they just get positioned somewhere. So right now there's no light right here. In order to find it, I just go ahead and press P on the camera position, copy it, press P on the light, and that's going to position the light exactly where the camera is. I still cannot see it because the light is right where the camera is, right? But if I change to the 4-view mode, I can see it right over here. There it is. So I pull it towards my mirror mesh. There we go. We have our light, and we can fly around with it, position it wherever we want without a problem. Something also that needs to be changed is the shader. We have the option to put on Fong. Then you have some kind of like fluid stuff going on if we would keep on working on this, but that's not really what I'm aiming for right now. So just put this on flat. Then you have all of these polygons, some low poly stuff going on. You can also put this on quads, but then you have like squares, I don't know. Just some basic shit. So let's position this in the top left corner, I suppose. maybe put a little bit more like that. Yeah. And what I wanted to say is the complexity actually increases, like you get more details if you put that up to 10, and that is what I did. The octascale was on 2, the octamulti was on 0.7. It's very nice to explain what the complexity is, but I guess everybody got it by now. Now this is the interesting part. This is a new setting that is only available from trapcode Mir 2.0.0. With the new update, you have this spiral setting, which we're going to increase now. And you can see everything's going to turn. Put this in half so you have everything a little smoother. Yeah. Let me turn it on a little bit with the camera. Nice 3D spiral. But 4.8 is a little bit too much. 2.7 is gonna be enough for this. Also, this mesh was banded a little bit. Kinda explains itself, really. To give all of this a little bit of depth, actually let me create a few lights first. 3 in total were used in the project. I like to use the Google Material Color Palette. Just gonna use some purple color. They really have some nice options with different shaders. Should really check it out if you're into this kind of stuff. So yeah. Gonna put some purple on here, and you can already see really blazing fast how Mir reacts to all these lights. I think this is amazing. This really helps the whole workflow thing. And a third one, gonna make this, I don't know, some deep red, I guess. So yeah. The deep red one right there. Maybe increase the intensity a little bit. There's also a shortcut which is T, like I don't know, opacity. It's the same shortcut. Just do something like that. Now we don't really have a lot of depth going on here in this mirror layer thing mesh. So we want to turn on the ambient occlusion and crank that shit up to 240, but that does not look too well, so we increase this to 35. Looks a little bit better, I suppose. Just play around with it a little bit until you got it. Maybe decrease this. Yes. Alright. So that is pretty basic at first. It's just what the whole thing looks like in general. Now we can go ahead and increase the verticals, but first I wanna make a second instance. Basically copy this one, and I wanna rotate it in Z, something like that. And then translate it, basically pulling it a little bit to the front over the other one, putting it minus, I don't know, 28. And now to get really more verticals into this, making this less low poly, a little bit more detailed, you put 2000 by 2000 verticals. Let this render out real quick, and you see everything looks a little bit more detailed as it was before. You have some mountains going on over there. If we put this on full, you will notice everything looks much better. So I guess you can kinda compare this. Of course, I also played around with the multi-sample setting you can find right over here, but this tends to crash when you have a graphics card that is higher than 2 gigabytes. If you happen to be in that situation, feel free to PM me and I can send you like a thing on how to fix that, because there's actually an official way from Peter Norby. So yeah. To finish this off, because we still have everything black, basically the whole mirror thing is done now. You can close, you can stop watching this awful video. So we just make some super easy, nice gradient ramp. Actually use two. I don't like to use the 4-color gradient. I like to use 2 gradient ramps. Thanks for Renzo showing me that. Never forget. Pin them into the corners. Put them on radial, swap the colors. Put the ramp scatter up to 250 so everything's gonna look smooth. And then we just, you know, pick some colors from our whatever the hell that is. Do the same right over here. Super interesting part right now. I know. Then you go ahead, blend that with the original 50%. This one as well. Maybe add some brightness and contrast. That actually looks very much like the one I made. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Maybe change some saturation and hue. Yeah. If you happen to have some of these rings going on, I mean right now there aren't any, which is good, I guess. You can you have to change the bits per channel to get more smoother colors, like a wider range of color shades. That is what you want to do, changing the bits per channel, but not every plugin works with that and supports that. So next up, I'm gonna create some nice eclipse right over here, and we're done. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. We use some blur next, some fast blur and some directional blur. You can also just use some fast blur. Thanks for Ryan. Shout out to the Rye Designs for showing me this in Photoshop. Just, you know, give it light direction, and then blur all that out. I'm like 450. Overlay it to the gradient. And now it's time to use some magic bullets. I always like to sharpen everything first, so kids, don't forget to sharpen and actually click the damn preset. Sometimes it looks a little bit too much, so I mean right now it's looking awful anyways because I haven't played around with the multi-sampling setting, but that just takes too much time because of that mirror bug. And it probably could crash the whole file. So I just put this on 50. Put another layer of magic bullets on this. Just use one of those presets. You can also build everything yourself, but ain't nobody got time for that. Adjust the preset to your likings, I suppose. And last but not least, add a curve effect. Not like that. Really basic. It's a little bit too much for my taste, so I'm gonna decrease the opacity on this to 50. And I think I nailed it pretty much. Looks very much the same. This is twisted in another direction as this one. But yeah, you kind of get the picture, I suppose. So that is the whole thing. That is what this whole fuss is about. You can also go add some particles to the background. I also like to put some grain in there sometimes on the BG. Actually, gonna change this to 16 bits because I've seen some pretty bad scattering right here. Looks better now, really damn smooth. Yeah, but that's all that is. It's really easy, really basic. So I hope you like it. Maybe learn one or two things. It's not too hard. and thank you for watching. Bye.